Weapon damage in Hypixel Skyblock is now a very important stat. This is because strength used to contribute 20% of itself into weapon damage, which carried the damage of low weapon damage weapons. This means weapons like Flower of Truth and Soul Whip, another good example, got hit very hard with the new strength change. But this also means there's one reforge that has become extremely viable over the last couple of months, and that is the Suspicious Reforge. The Suspicious Reforge bonus increases the weapon damage by plus 15 damage. This was not notable before because you could do that with just a very little bit of strength, but after the new strength nerf, this bonus has become quite a bit more potent. And if you're still using a Flower of Truth or Soul Whip, it may end up being the best reforge you can use as of right now in the game. Before we do get started on this video today, guys, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really helps out the channel a lot, and it's completely free. I'd appreciate it very, very much. And also, last thing, there's now an official Discord server for this YouTube channel, and the link is in the description. We're doing a ton of giveaways. As of right now, in recording this video, there's a 5 million coin giveaway going off in the Discord server right now, and there's not that many members, so if you'd like to join, you could join in on this or the next giveaway. Now that that's all over with, let's get on with the actual video. This video is a bit of a theory video, and by that I mean that these thoughts aren't completely bulletproof. There's a lot of variability when it comes to anything in Hypixel Skyblock, and that comes down to your combat level, that comes down to your pets, that comes down to your armor, your crit damage, your crit chance, etc, 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 etc. These Flower of Truths are both base Flower of Truths, except for they both have Smite on them. And this is just to avoid the most variability possible. I'm going to be wearing my Storm armor because we're going to go into a dungeon floor in just a second here, and this is just so I can stay alive for the most part. The example between these two reforges still should be very apparent and shouldn't change too much because of my armor. The other variable here is my Withered bonus grants a 1 strength per Catacombs level. I'm Catacombs level 29. If somebody was a lower Catacombs level, this would make Suspicious be even better for them. The last variability that is pretty important to note here is my strength to crit damage ratio. Strength and crit damage are both calculated exactly the same, but they're now multiplied into each other. This means that you want the most even amount of crit damage and strength to get the best possible damage. I made a video explaining this and why Withered is still the best reforge for most weapons over Fabled, and I'll put it up in the cards right now, but essentially, you want your strength and crit damage closest together to do the most damage. The thing is here is that Suspicious actually gives you mostly crit damage, which means my crit damage to strength ratio is actually quite a bit closer with Suspicious on. Now, the damage deficit for these numbers not being that close together isn't that high, and you won't be losing too much damage from this deficit. But it is still something to keep in mind. It may make one reforge look significantly better than it actually is. The conclusion at the end of the day will probably still be the same though. Whichever weapon comes out on top is the one that's probably on top. For this, I'm simply going to join a floor 1 by myself and go find a defenseless enemy like a skeleton. All right, we've got a skeleton right here. As you can see, I've got my Withered Flower of Truth on the left here, and I've got my Suspicious Flower of Truth on the right. I'm going to be taking the damage that we get from a critical hit here, because if you're running a Berserker class, you're likely going to have enough crit chance to actually do crits every single time. My crit chance is somewhat low. That's about 88%. With the Withered Flower of Truth, we do 167k. Pretty significant amount of damage on floor 1, but then again, I'm also not running a Berserker class. And right here, we've got another skeleton, and where we can use the Suspicious Flower of Truth, which does 232,000 damage. And I look like an absolute porcupine after fighting a bunch of skeletons. No, but for real, the Suspicious Reforge is actually extremely viable for low damage weapons now because they're not carried by strength anymore. This actually makes the Suspicious Reforge really good for a lot of weapons and even better in dungeons because this 15% Suspicious bonus still scales in dungeons. As you can see, that damage difference right there was extremely big. I think it was along the lines of about 50k more damage, and that damage is not changed by the deficit that I have in my crit damage to strength ratio. It's pretty interesting. Please tell me if you think I missed anything down below. And Suspicious is still a fairly cheap reforge, costing very little in the AH and about 1 million to apply. And if you have this reforge on the Flower of Truth and or the Soul Whip, both of the weapons are actually going to be performing much better in dungeons. I know this doesn't help late game players too much, but for players doing floor 5s or floor 6s and still using Flower of Truth or Soul Whip, this is going to be the best reforge you can use. I also don't have the numbers up on screen right now, and I don't still have 2 Soul Whips, but earlier I also did 2 tests with a Suspicious Soul Whip and a Withered Soul Whip. I sold them in order to buy the Flower of Truths to do this test again, but the conclusion was actually that the Soul Whip with Suspicious on it did 10% more damage. This is pretty massive. It may not be the difference from you being able to do ghosts or not, but if you're looking to do the absolute most damage with both your Flower of Truth and your Soul Whip, I think right now Suspicious is the best reforge. Please tell me if I'm missing anything below. Like I said, there's a lot of variables in this game, and I definitely could be missing something here, but as of right now, Suspicious does seem like a very unique and good reforge, and I wanted to just make this video to see what you guys thought and maybe help some people out at the end of the day. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Join the Discord, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.